Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome in to Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here Monday, April 7th. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. Happy mock draft Monday. Pretty big game for my Florida Gators tonight as well, so shout out to them. Go Gators. So a lot of Jags fans have been asking me about a scenario where could the Jaguars get really trade heavy in this draft and potentially trade down from 5, but then also trade back up with some of the draft ammunition that they acquire in that trade down. I think it's possible. I don't think it's the most likely scenario. Draft day trades, I've talked about it. I think they will probably execute one. Most likely it will be on day 3. But it's very possible they could try to trade down. It's very possible they could try to trade up. You've seen all these different scenarios from where James Gladstone comes from, the Los Angeles Rams. They have been a trade-heavy team in recent years when it comes to the draft. So, yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all. I just think when you're talking about executing a trade down in the first round and then a pretty big trade back up like into the first round or early in the second round, whatever it may be, that takes a lot. That takes a lot of maneuvering, a lot of conversation, a lot of just figuring it out. It's an intensive process, right? It's not just like easy to make a trade, but could the Jaguars do it? Yes, they could do it. So we're going to talk about that here today. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. So Jaguars trading down from 5. I think that's potentially possible. Does Shedeur Sanders fall to 5? Is there another quarterback somebody wants to potentially move up for? Is there another prospect that falls to 5 where the Jaguars can potentially trade down and acquire some draft capital? We've talked about the Saints potentially moving up. That's a franchise that has shown the propensity to move up in the draft. Right now we're looking at the Panthers at 8. They have the 57th pick, so they could package 8 and 57 to get up to 5. I think that makes sense for both sides, potentially, right? I'm not trying to advocate for Panthers fans that they should be looking to trade up, but you never know what teams' motivations will be. And if someone falls to 5 that they're interested in, or some other team in that range is interested, 7 with the Jets, 9 with the Saints, etc., you move down. In this scenario, again, we're trading down with the Panthers to get to the 8th pick, acquire 57 overall as well, and still taking Mason Graham. He's still available in this scenario. We ran this over on NFL Mock Draft Database. So you still get your guy, and there's a reason Mason Graham is considered the consensus guy for the Jaguars. They have future and pseudo-current needs on the interior of the defensive line, depending on how you view things. They don't have any guys up front on the defensive line that have been brought in by this regime, really. And so you look at Mason Graham, he also kind of fits the bill with what they have looked for, what they have valued, his pass rush ability up front, what the Rams have valued in recent years. And James Gladstone's been a big part of that. And James Gladstone, the Rams, they've been a trade-heavy team. So trading down from 5 to 8, still landing Mason Graham, I think that would be a coup for the Jaguars, landing another second-round pick. And you now have kind of your guy set up, or your setup for the defensive front for the foreseeable future. Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, Mason Graham, and Mason Smith. You know, you got the law firm in there of Mason and Mason. So I think that would be exciting, very exciting. And then this is the part where Jags fans have been asking me to look at it. Let's say there's a guy like in their top 10, top 15 that falls to the mid to late 20s. Could they trade up? I think there's a number of guys that could potentially fit the bill. Maybe it's a receiver, right? Maybe they view a receiver to come in and pair with Brian Thomas Jr., whether that's a slot, a move guy, a Z, an X, whatever it may be. Maybe that's the situation. I think the most likely thing maybe could be Malachi Starks. I would be really surprised if a team that values the ability to just go out there and play football like the Rams have done, which I expect the Jaguars to do as well. You know, I think they're going to value intangibles and the ability to play the game over, you know, crazy 40-yard dash times and traits and things like that. Could Malachi Starks be that guy? It makes sense to me. I think that the Jaguars could potentially trade up into the mid to late 20s if Malachi Starks falls that far, and I think he very well might. The NFL just kind of seems to overthink safeties. I think Malachi Starks has great tape, great football player, versatility with what you can do with him. And I think you now have that kind of framework of the spine of your defense with Mason Graham and then Foye Oluokun and then Malachi Starks, really good football players in the middle. And you trade up to 28, you give up pick 36, you're trading up from there, and 88 in the third round to get up to 28, and you land Malachi Starks. And now you're talking about landing, depending on how the Jags view it, the way I view it, Mason Graham and Malachi Starks are both blue chip prospects. So that would be just unbelievable, in my opinion, if the Jaguars were able to pull something off like that. And I'm not suggesting that they will, but I've been asked to kind of view this, look at this possibility. I think that's kind of how it could potentially happen. Trading down and then trading up. And then the Jaguars have the 57th pick here from the Carolina Panthers. At 57, they go get that wide receiver to pair with Brian Thomas Jr. long-term, Jaden Higgins. I think they've got to do that at some point in the first 2 days of the draft. I really strongly feel that way. Having a second receiver to take attention away from Brian Thomas Jr. to complement his skill set and to help out Trevor Lawrence just makes a lot of sense. And I love these Iowa State kids, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Very different skill sets, very different body types, but two great football players. I think that they should be in consideration. I also think Jack Besh could be in consideration. He just kind of screams power slot blocker, will do everything he can for your football team, will catch all of the tough contested catch stuff, and then again, just do the dirty work. So that kind of feels like the type of receiver the Rams have targeted in recent years. Puka Nacua, I'm not saying he's Puka, but I think he can do some of those things for you. And yeah, so one of those three guys I think would make a lot of sense at 57 overall. It's possible they're all three gone. I think that at least one of them would be there. So you go get your wide receiver to pair with Brian Thomas Jr. long term. And then at 70, I don't really know how the Jaguars are viewing their cornerback situation with Jarian Jones and Jordan Lewis, who have both been playing primarily on the inside at nickel as of late. Both do have some experience outside, so I don't know if they really think they have a guy there or not. I don't know that they do. I think if you go into this season gambling or betting on one of Jarian Jones or Jordan Lewis being able to be that outside guy, that's a tough bet for me. So we're going corner again with Jacob Parrish at 70 overall. We've talked about him a lot, and I know folks are saying, oh, he's only 5'10". He has to be an inside player, but he's played outside his college career at Kansas State, and he's actually got 31-inch arms, which is well beyond the threshold of being able to play outside, according to a lot of NFL teams. He's also got tremendous explosiveness, athleticism, speed, so I don't think and he's got good strength. I don't think there's going to be any issues with Jacob Parrish playing outside. James Gladstone has been a part of an organization that has seen smaller outside corner, Darius Williams, have a really good career. I think Jacob Parrish could be in that same mold. So Jacob Parrish at 70 overall. You've taken care of a lot of your big needs here. You haven't addressed the offensive line, which we're going to do after we talk about Underdog Fantasy. Do you ever watch sports and find yourself wishing there was a way to get into the game? Now there is with Underdog. To play, choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, i.e. points, strikeouts, touchdowns, and more. I'm already looking at selecting my Gators, Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, to go higher on points. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code DuvalDaily to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun. When you sign up with promo code DuvalDaily, claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon first deposit. Must be 18 plus, 90 plus, Alabama, Nebraska, 90 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org. Arizona 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. If you're supporting them, you're supporting us. So at 107, Jaguars have a bevy of day 3 picks. I think they could do a lot of different things with them. So we're just going to kind of roll with some thoughts I have at 107. I could really see Miles Frazier out of LSU, interior offensive lineman, who I think projects to be a starter in the NFL. He's a little bit slept on. I could also see Anthony Belton, who could have some guard tackle versatility, played tackle at NC State, but looked really good at guard at the Senior Bowl. So I could see this being a range for interior offensive line because they did go get some guys that they wanted to bring in, right? And they paid them starter money. Robert Hainsey, Patrick McCary, you have Ezra Cleveland under contract, you have your tackles under contract. Are they going to go spend a high value draft pick this year on a guard? I wouldn't be against it. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be mad if they go get Will Campbell. If they trade down to 8 and draft a Will Campbell, sure. I'm not mad about that at all. I wouldn't be mad if they take one in the second round either. But I think that it's possible because of what they've shown you with their investments at the offensive line position, bringing in 4 guys, 2 starters and 4 guys overall. Maybe they're looking to wait a little bit this year with the offensive line. And I think if you wait till 107 and get a Miles Frazier and Anthony Belton, there's a lot worse ways to go about it. And then at 126, edge Ashton Gelati out of Louisville. The Jaguars need edge depth. They really do. Beyond Trayvon and Josh, I just don't think there's a whole lot on the roster. Could Yasir Abdullah take a step forward with this new coaching staff, with this new regime? Potentially. You also got your guy Miles Cole last year in the draft, but I think bringing in some competition, some guys that can get the job done at edge makes a lot of sense. Ashton Gelati, very, very strong, explosive, athletic, a guy who's extremely productive at Louisville, squattier, but he's got plenty of strength in his frame, a lot of muscle mass, and a guy who I think is going to be a super hard worker, intangibly rich. I think he's going to be one of those types of guys. At 142, running back Damian Martinez out of Miami. He's going to be available at 142. I don't know, but I have a strong feeling there will be a really good running back available to the Jaguars in this range. And I think the Jaguars, with Travis Etienne going into the final year of his rookie deal, with Tank Bigsby struggling in pass protection and struggling to hang on to the football, you want to kind of bring in some competition. I think Tank and Travis are both very talented runners who, in a different situation, which they will be in a different situation this year, could have big years. But that doesn't mean you don't prepare for the future. It doesn't mean you don't bring in competition. And whether it's Damian Martinez, who I think should clearly be a day 2 pick, probably a second round pick, quite honestly. I think he's just unbelievable running back. Or one of these other guys, go bring in a running back at some point on day 3. I feel pretty strongly about that. At 182, we went quarterback Dylan Gabriel. He's kind of been the forgotten guy a little bit because doesn't have the biggest arm. But if you're talking about a quality backup with really good accuracy, smart, can make a little bit of enough plays with his athleticism. I think Dylan Gabriel could be that long-term backup quarterback. And I know they brought in Nick Mullins, but I think Nick Mullins is almost a coach in the locker room, a coach in the meeting room at this point, somebody who just really knows the system really well. I don't know that they want him to see the field should the backup quarterback have to find the field. At 194, a very familiar name for y'all, tight end Luke Lachey. We talk about him all the time. Just don't doubt Iowa tight ends, especially late in the draft. And then you actually look at who Lachey is, comes from a football family, and very productive. Iowa's passing game has just been atrocious a lot lately. And I think that Luke Lachey has kind of fallen victim to a poor passing attack and all that stuff. But you look at his tape, he's big, he's strong, he's a little bit more nimble than you would expect. He's a good pass catcher, a good blocker. I think he can be that kind of balanced tight end that this regime probably is looking for. And then at 224, we have Antoine Powell-Ryland, who we've also drafted here for the Jaguars before. He's the type of guy, smaller edge. I think the Jaguars could target someone similar to him. Antoine Powell-Ryland, maybe a Q Robinson, who's not as small. He's a little bit lean, but he's got more size and length. Maybe somebody like a Colin Oliver. Like, there's guys deep in the draft that I think could potentially fit as a designated pass rush type, and I think Antoine Powell-Ryland certainly does that. So that's why he gets the call here at 221 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, you look at this group, I think this would these guys are kind of guys I identify as potential Jaguars based on what James Gladstone and the Rams have shown that they value in recent years. I think that they make sense from a needs perspective and from a, intangibly rich, outstanding football players, all that sort of stuff. So really appreciate y'all tuning in. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.